Good morning and good luck, and welcome back to Good Luck with Gino. I'm your host, Gino, and guys, do we have a treat for you today? We've got a very special guest, and when I say special guest, I mean of the upper echelon of the special category of special guest. My boy Illmind is here, the producer. Illmind?
Yes, gang, 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 gang. I'm okay. I guess I'm okay, pretty special, but thank you for the intro. That
You're
makes
decent. You've worked with a couple, up-and-coming artists?
Few artists that you probably haven't heard of, and also maybe heard of, but
Like
you know what? I'm just happy to be here, dude.
Do some name dropping. This is my favorite part, is bragging about myself, so I know you probably enjoyed as well.
You know what? I do. I'm humble, but also I know what I've done. So I'm not gonna dim my own light. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of people that are very, very rich, a lot richer than I am, but they've also helped make me pretty rich. So, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Disney, Moana, Hamilton, Future, Travis Scott, Huncho Jack.
We could probably fill the whole 45 minutes with you just naming.
Lil Uzi Vert, Khalid, Russ, like 10 songs with Russ.
Everybody.
Yeah, a lot of great people, man. And but it's a long journey, as we'll probably talk about today, but it didn't happen overnight, and I still feel like I'm just getting started, to be honest.
Before we dive into how you got started, what's your favorite song that you've done? I know it's the hardest question. Maybe not your favorite, but maybe like a couple of your favorites, or if you have a definitive favorite.
Yeah, so I'll give you the correct answer, and then I'll give you like the answer that people want to hear. The correct answer is almost always like the most recent thing I did, or like in the studio that no one's heard. So like I just made a beat before getting here, and like currently that's my favorite because I'm always trying to like outdo myself.
That's how it works too. I feel like you also, as a creative, I feel like every creative is like this. You just like get tired of. You fucking listen to it over and over and over, and it's why, like when I get asked to work on an artist project, I'll always be like, "How far into the album are they?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, we just got started." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Hit me in 8 months."
Yeah, exactly.
Let me know when the album's done, and then I'll come in.
Exactly.
Because they're sick of all the fucking songs.
That's actually a huge gem that you just dropped, for all the producers out there, whatever, like, it's about entering the sweet spot, timing of the artist album creation cycle. And you're absolutely right. Like, those last few weeks are like when you want to get in and...
Yeah, what do you think is the sweet spot? Because I feel like you don't want to be like when the album is done, and they're looking for like that one single, because then they're really reaching.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I feel like it's like the 90% mark. Like we've got 7 songs and like 2 singles, and then you can beat out one of those singles and make, you know what I mean?
It's interesting. I think a good entry point is halfway up until there. So maybe 60 to 90% would be a good like entry point. But also too, I mean, everyone works differently, right? Like I've had scenarios where like if you're in there like super early, then you get to build trust.
Right.
And then from there it's like, okay, you're there, and they, you help them craft the sound for the album. So it really, you know how it is. It's really just case by case. But I think a safe bet is like get in there halfway in, and then like provide something cool and different. And they'll be like, oh shit, you're like, you're the person that came in and like saved our album with this new fresh thing. You know what I mean?
Literally. And it's their favorite song because it's different. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, this is. Okay.
And then it doesn't make the album.
Literally.
It's so funny.
This is the next single. And then it's like, hey, what's going on with? We decided not to. I wanted to. I had a whole fucking agenda plan, but I knew this was gonna happen. I knew we were gonna start talking.
Every time
we
we
just
talk,
go.
it's like it just goes left.
Yeah.
So,
so let's dive into that a little bit more, because when you get asked to work on an album, right? Especially an album with like an artist that has a defined sound or style. Like I'll just drop some names as an example, but like if let's say you're working on a Weeknd album, or you get brought to work in on like the Beyonce album or whatever, and they have like what these artists sound like. Do you go in and like what's your approach when crafting records is it just best record you can make, or
my approach my approach is the same in that scenario as it is like when I'm home by myself making beats, where I have sort of like a general idea of like how of the feel of something I want to create, but then I kind of let the music dictate that. So if I know I'm working with like Beyonce, for instance, like I'll try my best to do like the opposite of what she's looking for without going too left. So it's like again, the common denominator with everything seems to be like balance, like finding that sweet little area where it's like, oh, they went there, but they didn't go to. They went to like Mars, but they didn't go to Pluto. You know, but then again, you have cases where Pluto's good, and then in other cases you have where Earth is good, where it's like they want like the thing you think they want. So it's like it's pretty. It's really a crapshoot, man. It's really fucked up. But that's my favorite part about all this shit is like the randomness of it and the not knowing. Like that's the thing that helped me, I think, the most with everything that I do is being okay with not knowing, and then like leveraging that to just like feel good and just do what I do, and then you kind of let things happen. You know what I mean?
It is the balance of, I think, how I've described it to myself is it's the balance of stroking your ego and like leaving your ego at the door in terms of what you're creating. Like I always want to create shit that I want to hear.
Yes.
So like if I'm working with an artist, I want to create what I want to hear this artist do.
Yes.
But also, a big part of my journey as a writer was figuring out, okay, how far can I go though until they're like, I'm not really vibing with this. And one of the most like I think humbling experiences that I had of that, I was brought in on a Rihanna record, and it was like that was at Rock. It was early. Yeah. I was like, they're like, we want you. They called me in. I sat down with the head A&R. They had a beat like picked, and I was like, well, I know she's getting all the Rihanna joints are gonna sound like this. Yeah. So I'm gonna do like just some shit that I want to do. And man, I had a blast making it. I did it in like an hour, and I'm in there. The engineer's going crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm like, this is it. Yeah. I did it. I'm like, I've been writing for like a year. This is easy. Yeah. And A&R comes in, and we play it for him, and he's like fucking vibing. Yeah. He's in the studio like, man, going crazy. And we're done, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, so where do I sign? Where do I sign? So where do we go from here? Does Rihanna just come? You want to call her and have her come in? And he goes, man, this is really sick. I don't know who it's for, but it's dope. I'm like, okay. Oh, okay. He's like, yeah. I don't think Ree would do this, but this is sick. Like, this is really tight. And I'm like, okay, great. Thanks, bro. Yep. Thanks for the compliment, dude. So yeah. After debating on jumping into traffic, I had to kind of recalibrate. All right, like what went wrong there? And, humbling. Because you can't take that either. I can't take that record. So it's dead. Yeah. And but anyway,
humbling moment. But you know what?
Learned.
Like you said before that, the confidence part. I think a lot of people mistake the confidence with like arrogance. But and this is just my opinion. You have to believe in your shit. Like you have to be confident. You have to walk into that room convincing yourself, almost being ignorant enough to convince yourself that you're going to go in there and you're going to smash it out the ballpark and that you're the shit. I believe that you can get better results with confidence as opposed to trying to be like, hey, I'm just happy to be here. No, you can be happy to be here and you can be humble at the same time as being confident. Yeah. Like embrace your shit, love your shit, know that. And also too, if you're invited to a room, like you're already the shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like you're invited there for a reason. It's because you have a gift. And as long as you walk in there convincing yourself that you have what it takes, I think you're going to perform better, and I think that's where a lot of people fuck up. I mean, I fucked up early on. Like I'm sure you have too, like early days, like that very first session with like that huge artist. It's like, bro, it's nerve-wracking. It really is. But then you tell yourself like, wow, like I got the call. I'm here for a reason. So like, let me outperform myself and try to deliver.
So like talking early on, yeah, we don't need to like go down a whole history lesson of how you got started. I'm more so interested in like, where did you start turning the corner? And then what was like a defining, because you're a lot like me, and like you don't want to just be a musician. You're a disruptor, and you want to innovate and create. I am leading you right into the drum kit conversation, but I want to take me through how you a cementing, defining moment that really got you there, and then the drum kit.
Got you. Yeah. So I started pursuing making music and making beats, specifically, 04, right? So we're going on almost 20 years. So 04 was sort of the year that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drop everything. I'm gonna commit to this and only this. And as what Kanye said, 5 beats a day for 3 summers, right? I was doing 10 beats a day for 6 summers. And so in 2007, 2006, the first real big opportunity on a mainstream level I got was with Gino. And so an A&R hit me up, and I started sending them beats and started getting more opportunities on that end. And the money was okay. It helped me to at least, survive a little bit. I was still living at home, in mom's basement. And so through those years working in the underground, and then that was sort of the beginning of MySpace and all that stuff, I realized that I sort of had this desire to help other people like me, which is you're just a kid in a random town and you want to pursue the music thing, but you have no resources, right? This was before YouTube University. This is before all that stuff, before drum kits, essentially. I mean, there were a few here and there, but you didn't have any marketplace. So through the years, I sort of started tapping into ways that I could contribute to the community, as opposed to, hey, you're just a kid that makes beats and gets placements, which is ongoing and which is what I've always done. So in 2011, I had this idea. I'm like, why is it so hard for me to get drums? I'm going into drum breaks. I'm going to Guitar Center. You remember those CDs from Guitar Center with the drum breaks, and you're doing that.
That was before.
Yeah, that was probably right before your time too.
Yeah.
But we used to go to Guitar Center and try to find CDs and stuff like that. And so you had very little resources online. And so in 2011, I'm like, I wonder if people would like Illmind drums, where I take my drum sounds that I've used and manipulated over the years and put them in a zip folder. So I, created a zip folder of 120 sounds, put them in a folder, and I threw them on my blog. At the time, I had a blog site with a little PayPal buy now button and then an explanation of what it is. I didn't know how to make a website. So I did it, and then I, tweeted it, and I had a little email list of rappers I worked with and stuff. And then I woke up the next morning, and 100 people bought it. So I made $2,000. It was $20 the next morning, and I was like, oh shit, this is a real thing. This is solving a real problem. So I doubled down on it, and I migrated to Shopify, and I created a whole series and just kept delivering, and it turned into a 7-figure business. And that single-handedly, in fact, did definitely help me to keep pursuing my production career, because at the time, in 1 year before that, I had signed a really bad publishing deal. It was my first one, because I needed the money, and it was an MDRC, and it was absolutely very, very not good. And so the drum kit business and all that stuff really helped me to keep going. It freed me from being tied down. So yeah, I mean, nowadays you can do that. There's so many resources now. And so I want to see more producers or just musicians try their best to sort of step into that zone of how can I leverage my career and make money in other ways and create different revenue streams for myself versus relying on just one revenue stream. So
I think that's, for producers, it seems like there's so many different ways to do that.
Yeah.
And again, shout out to you for being a pioneer and for capitalizing on it and just making a fucking shit. Because now it's you got to do Splice, or there's a lot of ways to get kits now and sounds, and especially with AI, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But for songwriters, which, I'm a producer, but I began as a writer, and I'm primarily a writer, and there's just not a lot of, it's very difficult to find ways to make income for writers. And so something I had to figure out how to do early on, because I didn't sign a shitty pub deal. I signed actually a pretty good pub deal. I just spent a lot of my money and got fucked by taxes.
Of course.
So I'm like, I got to figure out how to spend or how to make some money, because publishing brings in no bread, which we've discussed on the Good Luck podcast. And I clearly like nice things. So I got to figure out how to live this lifestyle and continue it.
Yeah.
And I had to find ways to make money as a writer. And so, one of the like finesses that I had to figure out, and any writer I talk to, I tell them this. And if you're listening back home, this is a gem. Don't tell too many people because,
Game.
But game. You go into a session as a vocal producer. And now, granted, you have to know how to vocal produce.
Yes.
But writers learn how to vocal produce, learn how to use Pro Tools, because if you want to be a professional in this business, you got to be multifaceted. You got to know how to do a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So I got super fluent in Pro Tools, and I am a vocal producer. So now, because I was having difficulty getting a writer fee early on before I had any real credits.
Which is so rare still.
Still very rare.
Yeah.
And I still have to fight fucking tooth and nail to get a fee to show up, or a fee at the back end of the record. So what I do is I have to go in, and I would go in as a producer, a vocal producer. And it was a game changer for me, because, working on certain albums, if you're in there a lot and you're the vocal producer on the album, even when you're not doing, you're kind of getting paid as an engineer.
Yeah.
So, fuck a writer fee, you get in a day rate.
Yes.
And it's a nice one.
It's amazing.
And it's something that we're fighting for songwriter rights now, which is either establishing a day rate or an easier ask, a writer fee if the record is bought. Do you see any way for writers to monetize? I mean, obviously I don't want to put you on the spot. But
of course. No,
is
I
it
love
just
this.
innovating, or what do you think?
Well, I mean, what you did was genius, first of all, because you've realized that you are of service in more ways than just, hey, use this word. Like, you're literally physically making the record happen and playing different roles. And I think whether you're a songwriter or a producer, or if you're in that room, learn as many things as possible and just be of service. That's my whole thing. It's like, ask yourself how you can be of service to someone in whatever situation. So that's one. I think for songwriters, first of all, I think songwriters should, at the very least, they should all get a fee, first of all, like producers do. It's no different. And so it makes me think about, so I had this conversation with a friend of mine recently, and when you imagine a scenario where you have like an artist, a songwriter, an engineer, and a producer, right? Which is typically what you see. So you have 4 people in there: artist, songwriter, producer, engineer. And basically the idea is a song is only possible with those 4 people, right? So you look at the engineer and you ask the engineer, can we make a song today without you? Engineer says, no, you can't. Point to the producer. Producer, can we make a song without you today in this studio right now? And the producer's like, no, you can't. You look at the songwriter. Can we make a song with you today without you? No. And then you look at the artist, same thing. So if the answer is that you need all 4 people, then why aren't all 4 people splitting everything evenly and also getting whatever fees they deserve evenly? And so, with that idea, we're realizing that the entire model that we've been following for 50, 60, however many years it's been since the music industry is just faulty. It's faulty. And so if we were to sort of imagine a scenario where like the entire music industry process and what the format is of it just disappears, then that just makes perfect sense. I mean, everybody in that room should be getting equal pay, equal share, equal publishing, equal writing. And that's just my opinion. But I think when you do it that way, you start to empower one another, and like songwriters become empowered, producers become empowered, everyone becomes empowered. So I think that's the uphill battle that we're facing. And so when it comes to songwriters, I mean, it's a tough one. I've seen people do like vocal packs, tap into that, and I think that's really lucrative. One thing that's very interesting, this might be a great segue into AI. Is that next?
It's
Okay,
next.
cool. This is perfect.
It's next.
So, and I'm gonna shout them out. So, I was talking to my boy, who works at this company called Arpeggi. I don't know if you've
I know
heard.
Arpeggi.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they just launched recently Kits .ai, where vocalists can come in and train their own AI vocal. So you guys are seeing like the fake like AI Drake and AI Weekend and stuff. So there's different algorithms that train those models, those Drake models. So essentially, if you're a songwriter, if you're a vocalist, you can go there and you can train your own voice using about 10 to 15 minutes of your vocal performances. And you can have your own singing or rapping voice trained on AI. And then you can leverage that and say, okay, if you want to use my voice commercially, you can use it, give me a percentage of the publishing or fee, or you can set your fees and go from there. So if you have a good voice and you have kind of a following, and you know, it's like, well, Grimes, I'm sure we're about to talk about Grimes, but Grimes is embracing this whole thing. She's one of the few. Then you can essentially do that for yourself and leverage your art and your voice if that's something you're interested in. So I think when I think forward-thinking income stream, you have to go to AI. You have to go to Web3. You have to go to these new systems to do it. You can't go backwards. And I think, you know, it started with digital IP, right? Like, and then it went from drum kit download to AI now, you know, in Web3. So I think you have to pay attention to that if you want to think of ways to make money.
100%. I'm looking at this right now. This is
Crazy.
Fucking sick. I see my boy Rio Cragen's on here. It's backed by Steve Aoki, Blau,
Yeah.
A16Z.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I'm gonna keep that tab open.
Pretty crazy.
I think you're totally right. I think again, so many of our peers have been threatened by AI and are terrified of AI, and they're like, "It took our jobs," you know, like the Soderbergh episode. They took our jobs. And you couldn't be more wrong. And if you want to be forward thinking and find ways to monetize, especially my songwriter friends, it's the best path forward. And I think obviously for producers as well, there's so many opportunities. You, like me, have dove headfirst into AI.
Yes.
And you dropped.
We're divers,
We're divers.
We fucking dive in.
We're divers.
We've cracked our neck like a million times,
for sure.
but
we're not submarine divers.
No,
we're not going that far down.
We're not going that far down.
But we are diving.
Yes.
I'm at like 80 feet, maybe max.
Yeah.
With the proper gear. Anyway,
that's crazy.
So you dropped the chatbot.
Yeah.
You dropped the chatbot. Let's talk about that chatbot that you dropped.
Yeah. So you know, I've been using ChatGPT since it became a word. I found out about it and I'm like, this is nuts. Why don't more people know about this? I'm using this to leverage everything. And it was a random day, and I'm going back and I'm thinking about AI. I'm thinking about the future of AI. I'm thinking about, you know, yes, it is threatening to a lot of people, but I'm always thinking, my brain defaults to ways to leverage AI in good ways, and how can we use it to be of service and make the world a better place. And so I was like thinking about all these things I was able to do in the past like 10, 15 years, you know, going on tour and you know, booking random studios in different cities and like inviting up and coming artists to come and have conversations, and all the beat critiques I've done, all the videos and podcasts and Twitch streams, and just like giving and learning as well. And so the idea popped in my head and I was like, why don't I create a clone chatbot of myself that, you know, we can train on like all of the books that I've read, all of the philosophies that I believe, you know, all of the podcasts that I've done, we're probably gonna transpose this podcast and train the bot after this comes out.
Fantastic.
To update it. All the thousands of hours of footage and interviews and talking points that I've done in the past 15, 20 years, trained this one bot to become basically me, and then use that bot as a service for people to be mentored. So they can actually go for free on the website's askillmind.com. They can go there and you can literally chat to my clone bot about anything. You could ask advice. You could, hey, yo, what's your favorite song? What was it like meeting Dre and he hated your beats? Like you can literally say anything that you would say to me, and it would reply in my way. And we did a lot of training before we deployed it. We did like a little test. We sat down and I had someone ask me questions, and then we would ask the bot questions and compare the two, and they were like very, very scarily accurate. And so we knew we were onto something, and we deployed it, and it's been crazy so far. It's been out for about a week and a half, and we're approaching 8,000 prompts so far. Yeah, with just a bunch of people just talking to it, and I'm getting DMs and emails like, "Hey, your bot like helped me create my own schedule for like my day job. Like, I work from like 10 to 3 p.m. and like Illmind chatbot created a schedule for me to like make beats and like network and stuff." And so it's really proving to be helpful. And so I want to double down on it and just keep improving that side of it. And so that's me personally, how I'm leveraging AI is just like thinking of ways and how it can help people, and like how I can continue to like be of service.
Did you do it by yourself, or did you have a company you're doing it with?
No, so there's this great company, this guy Dara that I met, and incredible.
Yeah.
I saw what he was doing, and I was like, yo, yes, let's do this. And so it's interesting because I've been really having deep conversations with him on like different ideas that we can put into it. And so in real time, we're like thinking of new things that we can build on top of what we already, what else already built.
I was about to be like, yo, after this, I got a guy to introduce you to, and you already fucking know him.
Yeah, so he's the one. Yeah,
there goes that. Yeah,
crazy,
dude,
crazy.
It's so cool. I think. Would you say more of the people using it are aspiring producers, or the women in your life that just couldn't quite pull you?
Mostly the women.
I figured.
Yeah, mostly the women. I see every conversation. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's messed
do you just? What do you like in the bedroom? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
remember that one time that you left me?
Yeah.
No. But no. In all honesty, it's actually surprisingly been like a mix. It's obviously a lot of producers. But definitely artists are using it, and then just like regular fans, like just people, like, oh, this is so interesting, it's so cool, blah blah blah. So I'm finding a mix, but it's a lot of fun. But I wanna say what's next, but
you don't, yeah.
But I don't yet.
We will talk after.
We're gonna
about
talk.
What's next?
Yeah, we're gonna talk after.
We probably have had the same convos.
Yes.
I always. Like when I tell people what I think the future of AI is going to look like, even before the conversation with, him and other companies I've talked to, ChatGPT is it's the first, it's not the first, but it's like the first consumer viable extension of artificial intelligence.
Correct.
It's flavorless though. No swag.
Zero.
Just nothing going on there.
Yeah.
And it's a language model, literally, quite literally. And so I think the future of it is, it's these like accents, and like, giving people your own personal twist using the API, but like creating what my version of that would look like.
Yes.
And that's what you already fucking did.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. And I'm working with Dara. Like when I trained my bot, I even gave it a personality and even philosophies too. Like you are, for instance, like one of the training code lines was, you are a mentor, but also a friend, just those little things that you incorporate into there to train the AI. It's very, very scary how quickly it learns and just how accurate things could be if you're prompting correctly. So That's my favorite part about it. Is like it's you can you can create a swag full chatbot minus like the opposite of ChatGPT. I mean, ChatGPT is lifeless. You're not talking to a person.
And this is still like early on.
Yeah,
it's still a little. There's some swag in there. There's some seasoning in there.
There's like some sarcasm.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. But it's still not quite where it needs. But it will get there. Obviously, these things are trained, and
But you can go to ChatGPT and say, "Talk to me like you're John Travolta."
Yeah,
and it will.
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, you're John Travolta, because you can prime the AI.
You can prime it.
It's just not going to be as it's not going to quite be as accurate as if it was trained solely on your inputs.
It'll give you like the most surface level thing.
Yeah, it's not quite there yet. Is there, in terms of leveraging AI for producers, what I always tell people is like, you just got to get out there and fuck around. You got to try some stuff. Use I tell people, use the vocal AI raps, whatever the vocal, what are they? What's the term for whatever. Yeah,
that thing.
Yeah. Google's dropping their music LM, which is going to be sick. It's out now, but you have to like get the you have to like apply to get in or whatever. But it is free. And I think I think until we have like a plugin, it's going to be. We won't see that crazy mass adoption from producers yet.
Yeah.
But I would tell anybody that's listening and implore them, like, just be early on this. Because, I think above all else, like what AI does best is whether you're a writer, producer, or an artist, it's so difficult being a creative today. And it's because you can't just be a creative to be a creative.
Yeah.
You need to fucking put out 10 times the output that you had to put out a few years ago with the way that, these machine learning algorithms are on social media. And if you want to grow at all, I mean, look at me. I'm doing a fucking podcast and I'm dropping 6 clips a week and
you're crushing it.
Without AI, it would be so much more goddamn difficult, because I also need to be a songwriter, producer. I also have a company that I'm running, a Web3 company. I'm also it's just like, if I didn't have this, and it's, you're doing yourself a real disservice by not fucking with this
1,000,000%. I liken it to when airplanes were invented. It's like, or even cars. I mean, like, are you gonna drive from California to New York? First of all, are you gonna walk? No.
Right. Are you
gonna use a horse and buggy, or are you gonna use a car? Car is much better. Or are you gonna use a fucking airplane, which is even much better, even 10 times better than that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing where it's like, if you're still using horse and buggy, you're just gonna get left behind, and there's competitors that are popping up every day. And so if you're not keeping up, you're just gonna get lost in the sauce, and especially for a producer or a creative person. And I know that's sort of disheartening, because it's like, I want to be that guy who like releases one album every 3 years, and like, I'm quality over quantity.
No.
Dude, you don't know how annoying it is when I see people quality over quantity. I'm like, okay, you're right. Quality is important, but how about quality and quantity, right? It takes you 24 hours to make a fire beat. What if I told you I can make a better beat in 5 minutes and I do 20 of them in one day? Who do you think is going to get the placement? Me.
Yeah.
I am. You're not.
I am.
Yeah. And the only reason why I can do that with that speed is, repetition, time, but leveraging technology.
Leveraging technology, and also just being efficient, dog. Like, you need to like, you're moving backwards if you're moving forwards really slow.
Yep.
Slow and steady does not work in an industry where it is ever changing and rapid. You're going to start something in 3 years, it's going to look completely fucking different. You know what I mean? Like, if your name isn't Rihanna or Kendrick or Beyonce, you can't take 4 years between albums. No. You can't take a year before putting a song out.
Absolutely not.
And so I want to jump here, like you jumped really quickly. You moved to Miami.
Yeah, I did.
Which, fuck you. Because now I only get to see you once in a while.
I know, bro.
And I'm in Miami a good amount. Whenever I work on Latin stuff, I'm down there.
Yeah.
When I work with Scott Storch, who's down there.
Yeah, shout to Scott.
So now it's you and Scott are really just kind of the two
Man,
People, you love the weather.
I love everything about Miami. I mean, I'm from New York, so Miami's like almost second home because every winter we would leave New York.
Yeah.
Obviously, New York is shitty in
I'm
winter.
from Detroit. That's where
So
everyone goes.
Oh, Detroit's even worse. Winter.
Everyone goes to die in Florida.
Everyone goes to die in Florida. So
Yeah.
Florida is a hop, skip, and a jump from New York. And so we decided to move down there. I mean, it's on the East Coast still. Cost of living is still, it got up, but it's still, you're getting more for your money than in New York. And then just the state tax and all that stuff is just a better decision for me. But also too, on top of that, you have a lot of sessions happening in Miami now. I mean, the Latin scene has always been lucrative and healthy and thriving, and even thriving more so than ever. I mean, but the non-Latin music industry and the creative community in Miami and just in Florida in general is booming. And so I sort of look at it as, to me, in terms of living, it was a no-brainer. It was either here in LA or Miami, so we chose Miami. So we're loving it so far. It's great. It's hot as fuck, but it's great.
The taxes.
Yeah, the lack of.
The taxes.
Wonderful.
And they're crypto forward down there.
Crypto forward.
DeSantis is kind of a fucking dickhead, but
Agreed.
But he's crypto forward.
They're crypto forward, and if you stay out of the way, don't do anything stupid, do your thing and like get in where you get in and be of service to people. In my opinion, you can live a good life in Miami, and so we're loving it so far. Yeah,
good for you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna be down there soon, and I need to be. And you got a studio down there.
I have a studio house. Yeah. You guys can check out the studio house. It's called Resort Miami. It's in South Miami, and so if you guys want to check it out, it's Resort with a Z. ResortMiami.com. You can check it out. There's pictures and stuff, and you can see what we're all about. We shot a documentary. We hosted a camp in April. And it was a 5-day camp, and we invited all of our producer and writer friends. I think you had to be somewhere, so that's why you weren't there. But it was great. It was awesome. Like Timbaland came, Boy Wonder, Il Angelo, Doc McKinney, Super Dupes. I mean, all the goats, in the area that came.
My people
so
were
fun.
there.
Yeah, I know. Scott was supposed to come. He didn't come, but next time.
Damn it, Scott. I'll give him some shit on text.
Yeah.
I want to real quickly before we wrap today. I want to talk about your NFT project. We talked about leveraging technology as a musician, finding new ways to make money. Not even just make money, because it is about making money, but it's not all about making money.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, like what was so exciting about NFTs and music NFTs specifically, is it's a new playground. It's fun to like get in. You connect with a whole different group of people. And it is a unique way to monetize your IP and leverage your career, because again, nobody's in this world yet. Yeah. We talk about it's like me, you, Illa, a few other people. We've like laughed about. There's nobody in this bitch yet.
No,
I mean like
it's
like 25 people.
I don't understand.
It's so early, and I think you dropped the project, I dropped the project.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about your project. We could talk about my project,
yeah.
and we'll just talk
about our project.
Yeah. So let's talk about Squad of Nights and
yeah. So I deployed Squad of Nights right when the bull run was sort of ending. It was like tail end. Both of us did, and Illa too. Shout to Illa. Mm-hmm. We sort of caught the wave coming back down. But essentially, without harping too long, the project's called Squad of Nights, and it's a PFP project, but the entire ethos and purpose of the project is very, very simple. Very, very simple. It's simply a way for creative people, specifically musicians, to get together and get to know each other. That's what it is in a nutshell. That's how it started, and that's how it's going to end. And so I'm using Web3, we're leveraging technology to incentivize strangers, creative people who are strangers, to come together and get to know each other. And to me, that's probably the most valuable thing that we can do as creative people. It's the one thing that we have to do. It's the thing that we start doing. It's the thing that we struggle doing. And it's the thing that we're going to continue to do, as long as we're in the industry, is getting to know people, finding creative people, collaborating with them, working with them, and hopefully creating, hopefully lifelong relationships with them, whether it's friendship or creative or both. And so this is a people business. This is a people industry. And so I'm always going to be interested in finding ways to bring people together. And I found Web3 and I found NFTs to be like the perfect medium to do that. And that's essentially what Squad of Nights is. But then you have the bells and whistles, like we have the, reward token, and you get free studio time, and there's like sample flip contests. And we actually created an album that we finished last year that we're going to finally come out with this year that I'm really excited about. And, we're going to leverage Web 2 and Web 3 to like put that out and then just get them to work more together. That's really the whole point.
Man, that's so,
yeah.
I think the greatest through line that I've seen in successful people in the industry is collaboration, whether you're new or you've been around for a long time.
Yep.
The people that I've worked with that are like OGs, like you, people who have been just fucking crushing it for like a decade. The one piece of consistent information in that is that they just fucking collaborate with everybody. They work with everybody. It's always the fucking B tier.
Yeah.
I just had a hit and I feel like I got to prove something.
Yeah.
Those are the motherfuckers that are always like goofballs about collaborating and feel like they don't need to, or they can be a wise guy in a studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think like NFTs and Web3 give people that access that it takes. Again, technology just accelerates things.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us forever to get in.
Yeah.
And to make connections. And literally somebody can buy a thing for probably, let's say even $100, and now they're connected with Illmind.
Now they're connected.
And they can be not chat GPT Illmind.
Yeah.
Illmind.
The real one.
The real Illmind.
The non-clone. Unless I am a clone.
Who knows?
I don't think I am.
Who's
I
to
might
say?
Be. No, I'm not. But when you think about VR, you think about AR, you think about every technological thing that's happened that has helped humans, right? All of it is based around just bringing us together. Like when you look at Facebook or like MySpace, for instance, it's like, yeah, this is social media. It's a way to bring us together and communicate, right? And then VR, like I can put on my VR headset and be in this cool world, virtual world, and you can do the same thing, and you can be across the other side of the world and like be in the same room as me. And it's all about like, how can we get closer? So it's like, okay, that's cool and all, but like real life, like us sitting in a room together talking is the most highest HD human experience in existence. And this is what we're trying to duplicate, is what we're doing now. And so why not create activations that allow for people to come together in person more often? I just don't, I don't see why that wouldn't be the goal every time. I mean, there's only so much you can do on a VR headset or like on an AR experience. Those are cool, but like, at some point you're going to have to get out of the house. And,
I think
and be around humans.
We saw with COVID, like, you can do Zoom sessions, but I did maybe 2, and I was like, I'm all set. You can't capture that magic. I mean, at least not yet. You can't capture the magic of what it's like to be not even fucking close. I mean, it feels like you're working from home and like you're doing a doc. It does not feel the same.
No.
And so I think you're right. Like that real life. And I think it's all about leveraging technology to either create those experiences or to just move you along in your career so you can have those experiences.
So you can have them.
And that's something that I think, we're all trying to do.
Yeah, we're all trying to do that. It's what you said, move them along to create more of those experiences easier and more often. Because I think the more that we get together in person and create and brainstorm and do things, that's how we build as human beings, right?
Yeah.
And there's only so much we can leverage on technology. But that's the goal.
What do you think it'll take for like music NFTs to really catch on? Because like so we dropped Block Tones.
Yes.
And what we were looking to do real quick for those who don't know about the project, we basically took 150 stems from my friend Fede Vinver, who's a producer, 7-time Grammy winner. Fede. You know Fede.
Of course.
And similar to how, with the drum kit, we essentially took those stems all in the same key, all in the same tempo. We algorithmically generated 2,500 unique beats, minted them, and so they're essentially full-length radio-ready beats. And we minted them, we sold out, and if you own that beat, you own the IP. So you can literally buy the beat, buy the NFT, and you own that beat. You can do fucking anything with it. So essentially, if you wanted to go buy a beat from Fede, me today, to go buy a beat, it's my boy, but pretend I didn't know him, it's like 10, 15 grand, 20. Yeah. And for us, it's like the equivalent of going to SoundClick or one of these shitty websites to find license a beat for, you can have one and buy it. And you own it. And not only do you own the music and you can do whatever you want with it, but you're in a community, like we talked about, of like-minded people who are interested in music, whether they're musicians or people that want to work in music or just fans of music. And you can be a part of music. And so what we're trying to do, because our challenge that we're finding is like, how do you get people excited about music NFTs? Yeah. How do you get people to see the vision on it? And so what we're doing is we're going to start, and this is alpha.
Here we go.
This is some fucking alpha. We're going to start doing drops with those beats and putting big artists on them or big prominent songwriters on them to do records on them and mint those as songs. So if you own, let's say, you don't know, you've never done music before, you don't own any music, but you buy a block tone, your beat's selected. We take a major artist, we put him on that song, we sell it as a music NFT. And it generates 5 ETH.
Yeah.
You're a producer on that song.
Yeah.
You make royalties. And not DSP, Spotify royalties. You make fucking royalties.
And now the person that owns that original NFT, that's going to go up because that's going to be more valuable.
Crazy. And you're a producer.
Yep.
Congrats. You've produced a record now. And so it's really giving people like access. And do you think it's like, we hope it's those kind of things, but do you think it's going to be just more so like a big artist does some stuff or like what is it going to take?
First of all, Blocktones is one of the few projects, not just because we're sitting in the same room together,
and not just because there's some Illmind beats on there.
Illmind's on there, I got a couple Grammys.
He's got a couple.
Fede,
yeah.
You're not the only one, Fede. Okay. I love you, Fede. I think that that's an example of one of the few projects that's forward thinking with the music. I think in order for music NFTs to become exciting, we have to see more projects like this or just more interactive things in music. I don't believe that the big artist thing is going to work. I mean, if you remember,
it's been tried.
I don't want to name names, but many big artists stepped in and did it quick, and they're not, they're not selling. So that's out the window. I think my belief, and people are not going to like my answer, I think that in order for Web3 music to be a thing, we have to get into bed with labels and DSPs, one or the other or both. Somehow, we got to work together with them. We're not going to obliterate them. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. People are not going to give up their $10 a month Spotify membership with access to every Taylor Swift album to listen to, Joe Schmo, NFT rapper. It's just not going to happen. So it's an uphill battle. I'm optimistic about it. I think that if we all come together and collectively, push this forward, then it'll happen one day.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we got to work hand in hand with the labels. We're going to have to work hand in hand with Spotify. And the thing is, I don't know your experience. A lot of the people that work at the label are forward thinking and they are excited. It's just so fucking hard to move anything over there because it's a system that's been in place forever. There's so many.
They're not getting budgets to like explore more.
No,
even though they want to. I mean, I know executives that are like in pretty powerful positions, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm down, but like I don't have the funding. We have an office, but like it's one person, and they don't come in." And they don't say anything. So, like, we're busy over here marketing this huge project. Mm-hmm. Why are we, So it's just there. It's just there.
Yep.
Yeah.
In time.
In time.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Gino,
I mean, we could
so
talk.
honored, bro.
We could talk for fucking hours.
Literally.
This won't be the last time we do this either.
I want to do this all the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you on again next time you're in town.
We could talk about the clone update and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
There's always something.
When Illmind takes over the world, when Illmind AI becomes
Illmind
self-aware.
AI becomes sentient.
Yeah, sentient.
And then somehow finds its way into my real brain.
Yeah.
And then I just become a reptile.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. I would take the Illmind ship.
Yeah.
I would take it.
Take it.
Yeah, but thanks for coming.
Of course.
It's been a blast. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to Good Luck. And we'll see you the same time next week. Will we have a special guest? Maybe. You might just be stuck with me. So thank you. Good night and good luck.
Good night and good luck. You smile and say goodbye to me, but I don't give a fuck. You hop in the Uber, off to your future. Good night and good luck. You try to play your cards with me, but I'm calling your bluff. Cause it wasn't enough. Good night and good luck.